Alright, so hello everyone. Welcome to my analysis of the Super Mario RPG trailer coming out in November 17th, 2023. Like I stated earlier, I am absolutely ecstatic that this game is being made and is coming out in 2023. This is my favorite video game of all time, and I just absolutely teared up when I saw the initial trailer, and I've watched it a billion times. So I wanted to make this video to go over a few things that I noticed during the trailer that I thought would be some interesting analysis to share on our YouTube channel. We don't typically do this often, so maybe if this video does incredibly well, maybe we'll do this for other video games that are coming out as well that we're particularly excited for. But without further ado, let's get started. So we're gonna watch through the trailer one time before we go ahead and start picking it bit by bit. But man, just look at it. It's just seeing that star, which I believe might be Gino, coming onto the screen. And then just the remastered of the opening cutscene. Man, I freaked out so bad with this played. It skipped the Bowser sequence, but we'll actually talk about that in a little bit. And then you can see I had the pre-order offer up there. You bet your rear end I'm pre-ordering it. We're playing it day one. This remastered music too is also super duper good. Like, I'm glad they got Yoko Shimomura back on board. And man, you're just seeing, or you're just hearing the track, like, going for everything. Oh yeah, the sad song remix. My personal song that I'm waiting for is Let's Go Gino as well. But man, I'm just excited for all these tracks. Like, this is a really good track right here. You also hear the track that plays in Nimbus Land at the end as well. It's also a really godlike remake. Or remix, I'm sorry. But oh my gosh, it's just, this already sounds so beautiful. I cannot wait. So yeah, obviously we're seeing a lot of extra stuff that wasn't in the original game. But we're gonna go over that after we play this. I mean, look how gorgeous this looks. Like, oh my gosh. I still can't stop gushing about this. Like, every single time I watch this, I can't contain my smile. I'm absolutely wearing a shit-eating grin right now. I just absolutely can't help it. Oh my gosh, just look at it. And then, like I said, November 17, 2023, it's this year's Nintendo holiday title, which is pretty crazy. Okay, so now let's start analyzing it, because there's actually a few things I noticed that I wanted to share with you all. So we're going to play the playback speed at like 0.5. We're going to mute it. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning here. So obviously you see the initial opening scene of the where Peach gets kidnapped by Bowser at the very beginning in the Super Nintendo. It's my speculation that the star that flies across the screen right here, I think this is actually Gino before he possesses the doll. I'm pretty sure that was just a nice little touch for people who are fans of the game to kind of recognize what's going on. Plus, it's also kind of showing off that, like, there's more to this than just coming to Switch Online. Because while it coming to Switch Online would have been really good news, I mean, obviously, remaster is the best thing because so many people are going to experience this for the first time. It's just absolutely exciting. So we're going to keep playing it through here. And then when we get to the next scene here where Peach is, in the nice little flower garden with the butterflies and whatnot, there's one thing I want to point to because there's actually not a whole lot here. You can see it's very faithful to the original game in terms of design. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But you can see that they skipped the sequence where Bowser swings in his why am I forgetting what it's called? It's Koopa clown car that flies. That grabs Peach and, she yells for help and then Mario kicks out his door and then runs out. Then they kick it to the title. Obviously, the first thing that jumped out to me was they removed the Legend of the Seven Stars text from Super Mario RPG, but I think that makes a lot of sense because There is no other Mario game known as Super Mario RPG. This is pretty much it. The one thing I want to point out, you see Peach getting kidnapped by Bowser all the way up here. I don't know if a lot of people really saw or noticed that, but I thought that was a pretty neat little detail, though, so Mario could see that Peach is being taken off to his castle. So right away after we get out of this trailer, you can see here we open with Mushroom Way. Very first place you go to in the game. You can see it's literally 1-to-1. You have all the treasure chests in the same place. You have Toad being cornered by this Goomba here. Look how gorgeously detailed this paratroopa is. If I recall correctly, were they green in the original game? I think it's kind of because red were like the higher scale of paratroopa enemies, if I'm recalling correctly. But maybe I have that backwards. By the way, like you said, everything here is 1-to-1 with the original. It's absolutely gorgeous. Here we're in the forest maze, and you see we're at the section where Mario runs off ahead towards the top left where there's a pipe that goes down, that goes to the sequence that leads him right in front of the forest maze. Just seeing him run around in like the last two scenes, the isometrical movements obviously returned. I don't think that's necessarily a game or a deal breaker, because I think that's the one thing that the original is kind of hard to go back and play for a lot of people, is the overall isometrical movement feels kind of clunky and jank, but I think because they're remaking this title, there's going to be a lot more polish that just wasn't there in the original. On top of that, it's also just on a billion times better hardware. So, yeah, like I said, also, Chibi Mario is just absolutely adorable. It's not, like, bad like the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl Chibi or some other, like, Chibis. I think having him accurately scaled to his proportions in the original game was the right choice. And I think it just looks fantastic. So, not a whole lot to see here. Now we're in at Land's End here, where you can obviously see the Hornet enemies and then the little, I forget what this is called, but you have to fight it and then jump in there to traverse into Balum's temple. Kind of just showing off some of the areas in the game. Obviously, now we're in the Kira Kira sewers. You know, just the lighting looks absolutely fantastic. Climbing up on the way to Nimbus Land from Land's End here, which is also pretty nice. Here we're in the volcano. I'm a fake Mario RPG fan. I can't remember the names of everywhere. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the sequence right before the Czech Dragon. But pretty cool. You can see here, like, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So now we get to see Malo for the first time, and then obviously what's really neat is this game's going to have cutscenes that weren't in the original game. So, like, the original game kind of had cutscenes, but not in the sense that they, like, changed, like, your point of view or anything like that, or zoomed in on characters. It was more that it just followed, like, stuff that was going on in the overworld, and the characters would, like, trade dialogue. And just seeing Malo animated like this, just, oh my god, I started gushing so hard at this point, because I was like, oh my gosh, now they're going to actually have animated cutscenes that take place over the entire game. We're going to get, like, a legitimate retelling of the story. I'm super excited. And I imagine they're going to stick with the dialogue boxes. I know there's been some additional screenshots we'll go over after this as well. But, absolutely amazing. So this is the part where Gino possesses the doll at night. I'm kind of curious how that cutscene's going to play out, because he dances around the 4 dolls before decided that Gino looked like he was the strongest doll. So I'm kind of wondering how that cutscene's going to play out, because it looks like they just went straight to Gino here. I think it might enlarge in him pretty much immediately, but we don't get to see any of that. So this is the part where they get to Booster Tower right off the bat. And then Bowser kicks down the door in exchange for Mario, Gino, and Malo joining the Koopa Troopa army, the Koopa Troops. And then this is where you recruit Peach after the whole Marrymore situation. And again, it's really nice seeing these in cutscenes because in the original game, she kind of flew behind, not the castle, but like the house that was on the left side. And she was kind of obstructed for the most part. There's actually a pretty funny glitch that you could cause to happen there. I think it has to do with the menu. It's pretty funny. But, so now we get our first look at combat. So the first thing you're going to notice, you're going to see this chain meter along with this percentage bar, along with this icon here that pops up whenever it's time to hit a timed action. So you can see here, Mario hits a timed action, and then he's kind of got like a barrier thing going on, kind of like the old shell and reflect spells in Final Fantasy. It just typically like defensive, like using spells in general. So that's a nice little touch that they added to the game. I'm wondering if that only pops up when you hit a perfect guard, because you see how Mario took 0 damage here? Most of the time, enemies will always do 1 or more damage unless you hit a perfect guard. So I'm assuming that this is a perfect guard right here. So we're going to go and play it forward a little bit. So here's the next thing you'll notice, and screenshots will verify this a bit more. This is obviously earlier before the Wiggler went for the hit on Mario. But when Mario lands this Koopa shell, notice that the damage is AoE. So it hits both targets. There was no instance in the original game where this happens. So I have a couple of suspicions. Number one, I think every single timed attack will do this. Every single time attack will be AoE. Either that, or there will be something that's equipable in the equipment slot. Kind of like how you have your armors, like your shirts, your pants, and then your last accessory option. This could also be an accessory, but unless they kept it equipped throughout the entirety of the screenshots, I think this might just be something that every timed attack does, or specific timed attacks do. So that's just something I noticed. Also, you see here, the chain climbs up whenever you hit a timed attack, but not necessarily a timed block. It seems like you get points for a lot of things that boost your action gauge, your magic attack, your attack, and your speed. So apparently, whenever you hit a timed attack, Mario and the other characters will also get stronger. That's fascinating, because it's kind of crazy, because like the original game was kind of easy for the most part in terms of combat, outside of like maybe the Helix fight. So I wonder if they're going to scale the enemies as well to match, you know, the increased power level that the party has. And there's a lot of other instances where you can clearly see that the characters have a very defined, like, higher power level than the original game. So that's something pretty interesting. You can also see when you hit a timed attack like Peach does here, this meter right here climbs. And you look right here, same number chain reach, it's the 3 chain. This time it boosted the action gauge as well as defense and magic defense. So I'm wondering if this means specific items will buff very specific stats. And that's their way of balancing the items a bit more. Because I think, obviously, late game, everyone uses the stuff like the lazy shell and the weapons that you get in Bowser's Castle for the second visit. So, I think this might lead to more items being used. But the main thing I want to talk about isn't even just this gauge or that right now. You see Peach hitting with the frying pan. Obviously, she makes contact with the enemy. This wasn't a thing in the original either. But the main thing is, look how much damage she did. She did 258 damage. In no reality does Peach ever do this much damage with the physical attack in the original game. Like, it's just... I don't even know if you equipped the most offensive equipment you could possibly equip on her to ever see this damage value out of her, you know, attack with the frying pan here. I just do not think that this was possible in the original game. So, I mean, even with the Geno boost, I don't think that's possible. Because, like, Peach is obviously a character that scales with magic quite a bit. Because she heals the characters based on, like, her magic stat. Her magic attack stat. And then, there's ways to where if you level up a character and you somehow swap the characters around, they can learn each other's specialness. So Peach would actually steal special moves in speedruns from Mallow and Geno. So that would be how she would deal the most damage. But again, this is a raw physical attack that she hit a timed hit to get. So like, I'm thinking all the damage values in this game are just going to be absolutely inflated, which would lead me to believe that maybe in-game enemies and bosses and whatnot will like do crazy amounts of damage. But if you look here at the bottom at their HP values, this is about what you would expect at the end game at this point. So maybe it's just damage and enemy HP values that are inflated, and then everything else kind of just stays the same in terms of enemy damage, your character's HP and all that. But honestly, it's impossible to tell. We don't know how the devs are leveling their stats. But yeah, I just thought this was really interesting. Plus, we have this meter down here, and I'll speculate what that means a little bit later. So, yeah, obviously Peach goes absolutely ham on that. Alright, so this is where they start showing the sequence of all of, like, the bosses and stuff like that. We see Croco, who's the game's first boss. Pretty neat. Obviously, we also see Birdo here, hatch out of the egg, already with the ring and the egg in hand, so this Birdo's clearly not an infant. I guess they were just resting in an egg, how, like, Yoshi rests in an egg for Smash. Moving on here, we see Yardovich for the first time. It's also the first of the Smithy gang that we see. You can see here he immediately uses the Steam attack. I forget what it's called. Usually for some of the magic, and we'll talk about this a bit later. You can see here that all the party got hit by it. They didn't block. Mega Smilex right here. And Geno Flash. Oh my gosh, just look how gorgeous this is. This is just absolutely insane. And I guess before I get too off track, one thing I noticed between clips, and maybe I'm crazy, let's go back a little bit more. So this has 55 flower points. This has 85. So you can see that they're getting their flower points at a pretty normal rate. But yeah, Geno Flash looks absolutely stunning. We also see Mac and the, what is it, Spear guys? Or Bungee guys? I forget what these are called. I know off the top of my head. But the main thing I want to touch about in the magic, you see here that it gives you the magic spell like it did in the original game, but it tells you whether you can block it or not. I'm wondering if this means that this is blockable as well, because it didn't give an indicator on whether or not it could be blocked like Flame Wall here. And this isn't the only spell that shows that it can't be blocked. I think Blizzard also shows it can't be blocked as well. And then you see Mallow hitting his timed Thunderbolt hit right here. I think that's probably shortly before Dodo takes off with the middle party member and goes over there. I personally always like using Mallow here because it kind of just felt thematically fitting for the story. You also see the jiggle physics have definitely been tuned down quite a bit for, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name. For Valentina. So, obviously they want this game to be quite a bit more PG than the original. I think those jiggle physics were absolutely insane to begin with. Boyer, this is where Mario saves Boyer and meets Geno for the first time. Pretty dope. You can see that he replaces his, he usually throws out a peace sign here as well as winning every battle. But here it seems he tips his cap. Kind of like what he does in modern Mario games. They kind of phased out Mario throwing out the peace sign since Super Mario 64, so kind of interesting right there. But the main thing that I'm curious about, does Mallow name drop Bruce Lee before this fight like he did in the original? And honestly, this is my question for the dialogue in general. Because if Mallow and all, or not just Mallow, if all the characters have their same sarcastic, witty, like 90s humor and whatnot, and then Mario still, like, improvs and plays charades to, like, explain situations happening to everything going on. Like, this game's already the best remake ever, in my opinion. So, obviously, this is when Mario gets booted out by Exor here, when the sword falls into Bowser's castle. We don't know... Okay, never mind, we do know. This is the first time that happens. We don't see Peach or Bowser flying off in the distance either. We only see Mario here. So I wonder if we're going to see that in the remake as well. But then it's going to cut here to a unique scene that was on the original. So that percentage meter that we talked about earlier, I believe it's some sort of unison attack between all three of the characters, but maybe it's specific to which character triggers it. So this could be right here. Let's go ahead and just play the video until we get to it. So this one could be right here. Gino used unison attack or super. I'm not really sure what to call it at this point. I guess we don't really have that confirmation, but again, just more stuff that wasn't in the original game. You see Gino's just surfing on this rainbow here, and Malo's kind of falling through the stars. We have this scene here where Peach pulls out an umbrella, and it's next to Mario and Gino. And then Bowser's obviously riding Mario and Malo along in his Koopa Clown cart. So this is all unique stuff here. This is all stuff not in the original game. So I believe, like I said, these are all probably going to be super attacks. I don't think these are like cutscenes that happen within the game or anything like that. Again, seeing Gino flying amongst the stars and charging up his guns here is just absolutely stunning and gorgeous. I love this so much. I feel like so many people are going to realize why people love Malo and Gino so much for playing this game. And again, I'm just so ecstatic that everyone gets to like experience this game for the first time. Like, I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm gushing all over it. So Malo here looks like he's charging his, I'm not really sure this is lightning energy. This looks just like pure energy to me, but typically Malo's abilities control like the weather, with the exception of his last ability, which summons a star. But again, this looks absolutely stunning. So Malo looks like he's angry and he's about to take something out. Just absolutely stunning. And maybe we see like animations for all of the special moves, but I doubt that. I think this is just, again, that meter filling up in the supers. So Mario running ahead of Peach here. I wonder if this is a Mario-themed super, but we don't get too deep into it because it immediately cuts to Mario using Ultra Jump. And you can tell this is Ultra Jump because it hits 4 out of the 5 Piranha Plants here. And he already jumped 12 times, and I think the original game was capped at 13. If I'm not mistaken, it probably is much higher. I never really used Ultra Jump all that much. Anytime you're jumping with Mario, it's because you're super jumping and you're trying to hit that 30 or 100 super jumps. Or you're trying to do a lot of damage to a boss that, might just be like a really hard struggle. But again, another thing that's really strange, you can see how early this is in the game. So Mario's got 102 HP. This is about 52 flower points here. You also have Malo here, sub 100. Gino's actually above 100, which is crazy because Gino's kind of typically built fast and frail. So he kind of is typically a little bit less tanky than Mario and Malo. So I'm actually kind of surprised that he has much more HP than Malo and more HP than Mario. So I'm wondering if they're also rebalancing the characters too with the inflated damage values. It's just, there's a lot to absorb here that's kind of crazy. But then again, the devs also could have just been like, never level HP for Mario or Malo, and then every time Gino levels up, it's HP only. So like, we really don't know how they're allocating these stats upon level up, and we don't even know if the level up mechanics have changed or anything like that. But it's nice here because you get their HP, their flower points. I think this meter down here is their experience points. I could be wrong. It's just kind of my guesstimation. Or maybe, if it's not the experience points, then maybe these are all their own individual action gauge where they could use their own individual supers. But again, I doubt it. I think this is one of those things where the supers build off this percentage gauge over here. I think this is probably their XP. It's their health bar? Oh, you know what? I think you're right. That's why this one is almost filled. You're right. It does match the numbers. Okay. Well, I feel pretty dumb because I was wondering, like, why would they have the health bar and then have the numbers up here? But I guess it's just one of those visual things. Oh, boy. Well, thank you, One Scene Samus, for pointing that out to me. But yeah, this is Ultra Jump right here. They're going to cut on to the next scene here, which is this absolutely gorgeous. This is probably the most stunning area of the entire trailer right here. Because, like, once they get spit out of Kira sewers and they're on, and they go, like, down the waterfall into, like, the small little caves, just look at this. Oh my gosh. Like, if you had told me, like, 26 years ago that, like, this of all of, like, the game's scenes would be, like, the most stunning, I would have, like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. I couldn't even imagine this game being remade, let alone, like, looking like this. Like, holy crap. So, yeah, like I said, this is absolutely stunning here. We go immediately to the minecart game with Dinah and Mario here, which this seems to be the very end where they fall into the house. Yeah, we were just talking about the balance a minute ago. The thing is that's pretty interesting about the balance that I pulled up, that I'm going to go back to the scene where they're fighting here. So notice here how Geno has more health than Mario and Mallow. I'm pretty sure that's not super common, considering Geno's usually, like, really fast, hard-hitting, but also incredibly frail. So I'm kind of wondering if they did rebalance the characters, but, yeah, Peach, Mario, I don't think Geno's necessarily the third best character. I personally think it's Bowser, because he's kind of bulky. I know Geno Boost is incredible, too, so, like, it's definitely those four characters, and then Mallow's kind of a little bit of a drop-off there. I am hoping we see a rebalancing of the characters. Again, with this potential super meter here, I think that's a pretty real possibility. And again, it's just weird because, like, maybe it's early after they acquire Geno from the Forest Maze, but I feel like Mallow and Mario have too much HP at this point in the game for it to be right after, like, the Forest Maze. I feel like this might be after, like, Moleville and stuff like that, and maybe going into Booster Tower, but, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering, because I just don't recall Geno being this tanky. Like, like I said, they could have leveled his HP every level, and then neglected it for Mario and Mallow, but I just thought that was pretty, like, interesting looking. I think rebalancing the characters is a very real possibility, too. So, Mario and Dinah, dive out of the cart here. We immediately get to what I thought was the best part of the trailer, confirming that Mario and his charades is returning. Because, like, I was, like, seriously, like, curious if they were ever to remake this game, whether or not Mario would be, like, voiced, like, in the movie, or if they were going to go with, like, the charades and whatnot. Oh my gosh, I'm just so happy that this came back. And it looks so good, too. I was kind of hoping we could see, like, Mario jump around and transform back and forth. But that's okay. Well, just the confirming that it is returning is enough for me. So this scene right here, I feel like not a lot of people get to see this. So when you try to leave Marimore, they'll ask you to go back to Mushroom Kingdom. You can actually say no to the characters. So first I think starts with Peach, and then Mario says no. Then Mallow, and then Mario says no again. Geno says no. Bowser says no, and then they pretty much bully him into submission here. It's a very funny scene. So, if you haven't seen that, definitely exercise your options here. I think I saw somebody on Twitter state that this was like extra content, but now, unfortunately, it's Marimore, and this exit was always here. But I mean, just looking at the exit itself, look how detailed this is with like the steps and overall, just how gorgeous this freaking remake looks like. Oh my god. I love Super Mario RPG so much. And I can't stop gushing over every little thing. So, here we got Mario and Mallow before, like, the tadpoles here going to see Frogfucius. Pretty cool. Mario riding a Yoshi here. As I say, the Yoshis. Best part is, we got Boshi right up here, too. And they stuck to, like, his original design. And I guess let's go back to the scene where Mario's playing charades. They also kept the Chancellor's design as well. So we have unique character designs. It's not like they just made them all generic toads like they've done with modern Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi series. No, we have legitimate unique designs back, which is absolutely great. Absolutely love it here. Going back to the Yoshi's Island scene, like I said, we see Boshi. We'll go back here. we see Boshi right here. Oh my gosh, I'm just not clicking it fast enough. All right, I want to talk about Boshi, please. Okay, we got Boshi right here, kid. Unique Yoshi design here. The only Yoshi I think I've ever seen that doesn't wear shoes. So if you ever want to know what a Yoshi's feet looks like, that's what their feet looks like. Also wearing like colors, sunglasses. Boshi's just so cool. I'm so glad. I'm kind of wondering if they're going to redo some of the mini games and their controls. Because I love Super Mario RPG to death, but racing feels incredibly clunky. Like, I really hope that, like, we see updates and quality of life stuff. I guess while we're talking about that, super jumps. Are they going to make that easier? Or is it still going to be like a one-frame jump after 20 super jumps? Because that's going to be absolutely insane. Dr. Sylvester, I'm doing pretty good. We're just hyper-analyzing this trailer. Because, if you guys couldn't tell, I am just absolutely ecstatic. I've been asking for this for, like, golly, like 20 years for either a sequel or just some sort of game for Super Mario RPG. And, oh man, I'm super happy. So, yeah, like I said, I wonder if they're going to make, some of the minigames a bit easier for casual players. As well as, like, the super jump and its rewards. Because, like, I feel like most people can't hit 100 super jumps without save states. And with the original game, if you didn't put an enemy to sleep, their hitbox actually shifts, which changes the timing of the super jump. It is so annoying. Oh my gosh, hitting 100 super jumps is such a nightmare. So we'll see if that gets changed at all. But Booster's Tower here, I think this is the scene. Well, hold on. No, this is where Mario gets caught. So they're actually going to fight it out after this because in the original scene, Booster comes up with the other three Sniffits. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. And then, they ask Mario to get this doll for him. It's great. More importantly, we finally realized what these cameos were for. Because we already knew about the Peach doll and the Samus doll. I'm not familiar with these two. I know I saw it on Twitter somewhere. But it's nice to see that these cameos were finally confirmed. Because, like, with the original game, it was just absolutely impossible to tell. So that's actually fantastic. I love it. I wonder, because we have the Samus doll here. Do we? Oh, they're from Stunt Rate FX? Oh, that's hella cool. Like I said, I've never played or even seen that game. So just seeing these cameos are absolutely awesome. Do we get to see Link and Samus sleeping in the beds at the end? Please tell me they're still sleeping in the beds at the end. That'd be so cool. Oh my gosh. Everything about this game. So, Mario gets caught here. I think this scene never played in the original game. I think that was during the opening, where, like, if you had just watched past the opening scene, you could watch, like, credits kind of roll and it just shows, like, a bunch of stuff. I could be wrong here. Maybe I just never visited Bowser's Keep from the cliff afterwards, after getting all the party members. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not remembering properly. But then we see they redid the star collection scene from when Mario collects all the stars to kind of a more, not really generic, but they're all standing in a circle. There's really nothing going on in the background. So this star is pink. So I'm thinking this is the one in the volcano. I guess technically they could have recolored some of the stars as well, because I know like three of the stars were shades of blue and purple. So there's a lot of possibilities here. They could have recolored all the stars, or this could be a specific star. I'm not going to speculate too deep on that because really we just don't know at this point. But again, this is just so awesome to watch, and again, all of the party members being here. So like Peach, Mallow, Geno, Bowser. Oh my god, see Mallow and Geno in HD, in 3D models. It's real, guys. It's real. So, yeah, like I said, I never in a million dreams would have wished for this to come true. I've been hoping for Geno and Smash pretty much my entire teenage and adult life, because I just wanted to see some recognition go out towards this game. But I'm honestly happier it turned out this way. I am honestly happier it turned out this way because, to me, when we get to like the title here along with the release date, what makes me so ecstatic and happy is they are putting this game in an incredible position to be successful. I just want to iterate this. They're making this their holiday title, okay? It is coming out, right before, Black Friday and stuff like that, so that's absolutely great. That means it's probably going to fly off the shelf. All the casual people who've never played Super RPG before are going to see this, and this is going to be absolutely great for the franchise. Because, again, the original had to compete with, like, the release of the Nintendo 64 and Super Mario 64. This game isn't going to have any such problems. So, I hope so, Professor Nimby, that we see a special Switch edition. I feel like we would have had it announced by now, or maybe they drop it at the September or October Direct if they do one for next year. But I do know that this is the most anticipated game from the Direct, which is insane considering Super Mario Bros. Wonder is right there. I mean, if you go on every social media platform, Super Mario RPG has the most likes. It's topped the pre-order charts on Amazon and GameStop. So, like, it's destroying everything right now. If this game is successful, guys, like I'm talking 5 to 10 million copies sold, we might see sequels for this game. Or like a return to Mario RPGs in general. Oh my gosh. I am just so excited. So like, I just hope this game is super successful. And yeah, like Pokemaster pointed out in the chat, this game does come out the same day as Persona 5 Tactica, which is, I don't know if that's necessarily competition. I feel like that's more of an XCOM kind of game, or a game more similar to stuff like Mario Rabbids or Fire Emblem and stuff like that. But again, like, they are putting this game in such a position to be successful. And if it is successful, oh my gosh, what is this going to mean for the franchise? What is this going to mean for Paper Mario? Is Mario and Luigi going to be dead still? Is it going to come back? Or are we going to get an actual Super Mario RPG remake? Like, there are so many possibilities here if this game is successful. So, obviously, I'm telling everybody, their mother and my friends, to buy this game. I do agree that it definitely depends on what Miyamoto thinks, but, like, I don't know. I feel like Miyamoto praised the original game quite a bit. And, I think with the rights issue with Square Enix and Nintendo, it's why we never saw anything else for Super Mario RPG. But Square and Nintendo's relationship has been the best it has ever been since the Super Nintendo era. I think Nintendo publishing Dragon Quest in the West, on top of like stuff like Octopath Traveler being super successful on Switch, and lots of like Switch exclusive titles that Square has really done. I feel like Nintendo and Square Enix have an amazing relationship, and I hope this culminates in more Super Mario RPG content. More importantly, I just want to see Mallow and Geno in more games. And again, we're not even going to talk about Smash 6, because honestly, yes, Geno and Smash would be super exciting, and I pushed for that for so long, but that's only because I felt like Smash was Geno's best chance of ever getting into another video game ever again. But like, if you ask me what I really wanted, this is what I want. Sequels to this, that's what I want. So I'm just over the moon. Like, I could not stop smiling, and if I wasn't at work, I would have cried a little bit too, because like, oh my gosh, I've been asking for this for so long. So okay, let's go over some screenshots, because I did promise that we have some additional screenshots here. So these are all ones from the trailer here, freaking ads. So I wonder if we can scroll with the arrow keys or down. It looks like we're just got to open up individually. So let's go to unique ones that aren't in the trailer. So here we can see that they're racing here. So I don't know if they're going to change how easy like the button mechanics work and stuff like that. But like, I do know the mechanics seem to be largely the same. So don't expect the mini games to change drastically. I think this is going to be a very faithful remake. I mean, every indicator we've gotten so far that this remake is literally 1-to-1. So if anything changes, it's probably the dialogue. Because again, I can't imagine they're gonna name drop Bruce Lee in 2023. But God, I hope they do. So that is what screenshot was in the original. We get to see dialogue boxes for the first time. So you can see here that it's pretty unique, or it's pretty much similar to the original with like the yellow like shade and whatnot. I was kind of worried because when you saw the combat, you kind of saw these see-through kind of like lighter textured like boxes surrounding like the characters. I was wondering if they were going to replace the dialogue boxes as well, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't. I feel like this fits a lot more. I mean, I feel like Square Enix, obviously, they've done a lot of HD remakes of some of their games recently, so they know what they're doing, right? They're an absolute professional team. They got Nintendo on board as well, so... right here, this is absolutely gorgeous. Well, seeing Gino square up to Boyer, one of the most hype parts of the entire game. I wonder if you're going to see the cutscenes where they're shooting the arrows into the people and Rosetown, into the Toads of Rosetown. Just seeing that. Oh, that's another thing, guys. The Toads in Rosetown, again, unique designs. They haven't changed anything else. It's going to be crazy sick seeing them in HD. And then seeing Gaz, like, play, like, with his dolls and Mario playing as well. Oh my gosh, I'm just so ecstatic. So, yeah, so seeing this cutscene is pretty cool. It's just a trip down memory lane. And this game actually looks like it's pretty far along for the most part. It's pretty well, like, made and polished up until this point. We can see here that Mario's climbing the vine. We didn't actually see that, I think, in the trailer. So, again, incredibly faithful remake so far. This was probably one of the most annoying areas to play with the isometrical movement. But maybe it's placebo. Do these beanstalks look closer together to you guys? Because I kind of feel like they are to make the jumps a bit easier. Maybe I'm crazy and I'm just overanalyzing everything. But, like, again, I'm hoping with the remaster, or the remake, it's a remake, the isometrical movement feels much more smooth and buttery to use, because again, the original was definitely very sharp and jank, and it's probably the one weakness of the original game, in my opinion. So, we see Mario climbing there. Let's go ahead and move on. We see Mario squaring up against the two paratroopers, which, again, they're both red. I think I did have it backwards. I think later in the game, the green ones are the higher-tiered paratroopers. And you can see that the unison meter here is available right from the beginning of the game. So maybe the characters will just pop off their individual supers right off the get-go. But, I wonder if Toad's going to go over that during his tutorial as well, when he's, like, training Mario and stuff. But again, this is all super amazing stuff right here. I'm actually going to take a little bit of water right now. Alright, moving on to our next screenshot here. We can see that, again, we have the Flutter guys, and then the brown version of the Gekit right here. And again, another thing is, I can't tell which party member attacked. I think it might have been Bowser. But again, you can see here that they hit a timed attack, and it's AoE. So, my speculation right now is whenever you hit a timed attack, like I stated earlier, they're going to be entirely AoE. So, I don't think this is an equipped item or anything that's causing it. I think that's just going to be how the combat like works normally. Again, I'm really hoping with these inflated damage numbers. I mean, look at this. He hit a 300 this early in the game. You know how insane that is? Like, that is absolutely absurd that he hit a 300. Again, no Geno boost involved or anything like that. He hit that 300 raw, and the AoE splash damage did like 70 and 58. Like, I really hope that they're rebalancing these enemies around these inflated damage numbers, because this game ends up being even easier than the original. That'll definitely be something that makes me very sad. But, again, I have total faith in their ability to remake this game. I don't think they're going to do us dirty and ruin the entire game's combat just because they wanted to make numbers bigger. So, that's just something I looked at, like, again, the AoE thing. just happened multiple times at this point. I'm going to go and close this ad here. Moving along, you can see all the other screenshots from the trailer. So I believe this is Rock Blast from the original game. And again, just look how gorgeous this is. Like, it's just absolutely stunning. So I'm just so happy to see this game. Again, we have seen zero indications that they're deviating from the original in terms of any boss fights, any encounters, any story. It looks all entirely one-to-one. So it's just absolutely fantastic. So moving right along here, we also see Mario playing the river minigame. Looks to be very faithful to the original. Again, just look how gorgeous this looks like. Oh my gosh. It's just absolutely incredible. I'm so excited. So I think that's about everything I've picked up from the Super Mario RPG trailer and these screenshots. If you guys have noticed anything that you'd like to share, go ahead and share them in the comments below. And also like and share the video if you guys want more content like this. You know, obviously I'll see like the stats and whatnot. I'll definitely be more willing to do stuff like this. Obviously, this isn't like scripted or the most professional thing in the world. I mean, our podcast necessarily isn't either. So this is just something I really wanted to do because, again, seeing my favorite video game of all time finally being remade like this, just, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So that's going to be it for this, everybody. Thank you for watching. You all have a wonderful day. Again, please like and share the video. Thank you, everybody.